4, 3, 2, 1.
One of the harmful side effects of the pandemic is domestic violence is on the rise. People are at home, they are stressed out, some of them are medicating themselves, and it's leading to an epidemic of violence. That's next on The Jeff Crilley Show.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show.
At the very beginning of the pandemic, there were predictions that this could go two ways. There could be a baby boom from couples who are getting along, and there could be a spike in divorce. And sadly, there's also a spike in domestic violence. Joining us to talk about that, Paige Flink. She is the CEO of The Family Place. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we get into the topic at hand, I want to congratulate you. You have been recognized recently, a couple of the awards that I'm aware of, DCEO and the Dallas Business Journal. Tell us what you won.
I know, I'm so excited. So first it was the Dallas Business Journal Businesswoman of the Year. Many women, 30 women won that. And then last night I learned that I had won DCEO of the Year for large nonprofit organization.
Wow, that's got to feel so good.
It did, and the video that they showed, I didn't know was happening. I had my boys in California wishing me, telling me how great they think I am, which they never say to my face, so that was so nice.
Wow. No, I think that is so cool and so richly deserved. The Family Place, we were talking off camera, has been around for a while.
It has been, yes. We were founded in 1978 by a group of women around a kitchen table who heard on the radio that there was a group trying to open a shelter. They heard it was a city council meeting. Such a story. And the city council member said, I'd rather give money to a shelter for dogs than a shelter for women. And so this person who heard that was like, this is terrible. So these women got together and they decided to open a hotline and then open the Family Place shelter.
Wow, and you've been there a couple of decades now.
That makes me sound so old. Yes, I have been. I started in 1991 when those two boys were 3 months old and 3 years old.
Wow, and I remember interviewing you when I was at Fox 4. You do such a good job being a face of this nonprofit. Let's talk about the issue at hand. Am I right that because you're understressed, you're under the same roof, many people are drinking, it's resorting in violence? Yeah,
it is. It's really almost a powder keg if you think about it, because domestic violence happens behind closed doors, and so that's first we know. Generally, when people are able to get out, it's when their husband's gone to work, and so if he's not gone to work, they're not able to get out. But also you add the stressors of having lost their job, the unemployment maybe hadn't kicked in. There are people medicating because they're so stressed out. There's way too much alcohol and drug use at that time, and it just all comes together, and then no one can see the victim. Because a lot of times victims are seen when they're out in the world or they're going to work themselves, and so it's been a really difficult 5 months.
Well, and I have to imagine that it's not like the days of Mayberry RFD where everybody knew their neighbor, and if their neighbor wasn't seen for a while or had a bruise, that would become an issue. But people don't even know who their neighbor is these days.
A lot of that is true, but also people weren't getting out. So that if you were locked in that house, which is what our county had said to do, and rightfully so, but it still just creates a situation where we can't be a part of someone's intervening.
Yes. Well, I want to show our audience where your donations go. This is a video that was posted about a month ago.
Hello, and welcome to our new Southern Sector location, The Family Place.
Serving South Dallas since 1997, the Family Place is excited to announce the opening of our new Southern Dallas Counseling Center. This new expanded office will provide counseling and case management services to women, men, and children regardless of their financial situation. Tools for recovery include play therapy rooms, group therapy rooms, and counseling rooms for the most advanced and successful counseling techniques. Our office is a warm and safe environment for clients to feel at home, thanks to a generous donation from Texas Capital Bank. Each piece of artwork was donated by a local artist who supports ending family violence and believes that one's environment can have an active and beneficial role in the healing process. Our bilingual staff of trained and licensed professionals give the time and care needed to each client. This allows victims of family violence to process the trauma they've experienced and move forward to a life free from family violence. Many of our counselors have created innovative ways to meet with their clients despite difficult circumstances. Video meetings and phone calls have been used in a new way to counsel victims where they are. Our recently opened local office will help eradicate barriers for those with issues accessing services, such as a lack of transportation. We know the importance of programs designed specifically for cultural and community needs. This location will be home to our new African American Domestic Violence Council, created to address the high rate of domestic violence homicides among African American women in Dallas County. We believe we have a vital role in advocating for the most vulnerable here in South Dallas. Thank you for your support.
That is so cool. This must be so rewarding to lead such a wonderful nonprofit.
It really is. I'm so honored every time a woman reaches out for help, because that means she trusts us to do for her what she needs to have done. And they're putting their lives in our hands, a lot of cases, because this is a life and death issue. It really is, Jeff. I mean, last year there were 14 women murdered by their intimate partner.
Wow.
9 of those women were African American women. And the majority of those women were in the southern part of Dallas, and that's why our counseling center is there.
Wow. The other thing that a lot of people don't know is that sometimes the man is the victim.
Yes, absolutely. We, in 2017, opened a shelter for men, men where they could bring their children. It was the first in the United States. And we had seen for many years that there is intimate partner violence, same-sex relationships, but also women can be violent. And it's something that a lot of people don't want to talk about. And also men feel hard to reach out because they're supposed to be the strong ones. And so asking for help is a really hard thing to do for a man.
Yes, and I know that the media always turns to you on these subjects. There's a piece that ran on Channel 33 here a couple of years ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
No doubt, being a single parent is hard.
Men really feel like no one's going to believe them.
But being a single dad and a domestic violence victim, now that's a challenge.
The men aren't using the police as much as the women do. Mm-hmm. It's hard for them to even think to call the police, because if they call the police and the police come, he might get arrested because they assume that the man is the perpetrator. That's stuff we're working through with our Dallas Police Department.
Last year, the Family Place opened a shelter just for men and their kids, the first of its kind in Texas.
We're trying to write the book on how to provide these services because the men have never been helped like this before.
Paige Flink has learned something new from each family, like one little girl who was abandoned by her mom, and her dad wasn't listed on the birth certificate.
Because all he wanted was to be a good dad, but he said, if I leave here and I don't have a birth certificate and I have to sleep in my car with this little girl, they're going to think I've done something because I can't prove she's mine.
Each story proving domestic violence doesn't discriminate, and with an open mind, maybe love can conquer all.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about donations, because I know anytime the country suffers a recession, often some of the normal donors drift away. What are you experiencing?
So we've really seen a great generosity from this community. Dallas is an amazing city as a donor pool. They just give money whenever they can. But what the Family Place depends a lot on special events. And so we have recently canceled our luncheon that made about $350,000, our private dinner that's a $400,000 fundraiser, And our biggest event, $1 million event, is Partners Card. It's a retail shopping event. And I'm so worried that because people buy the cards in the stores,
right?
Are they going to go? Will they be there? And so we're really concerned about it because so much of our money comes at this last half of the year.
We're almost out of time, so that's your camera right there. I want you to just look into the camera and speak to the viewer, somebody who might feel the urge to get involved somehow.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say if you're a victim of domestic violence, please reach out for help because it is not your fault, and the Family Place is here for you with free services. But secondly, if you have it in your heart and you are able to give, I promise we will put the money to good use. It will go to keep people safe who are being hurt by the people who are supposed to love them. And if you can give generously, I promise you will save a life.
Wow, that was beautiful. Great way to end the show. Thank you so much, Paige. You've been an amazing guest. We'll have to have you back again soon.
Thank you. I love that.
And we're going to end by putting up the website. You can plug in. familyplace.org is the website. Paige Flink, CEO. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.